Okay, here's the response I emailed to Tia from the New Zealand Transport Authority in response to her email that she sent me. Hello Tia, thank you for your response to my questions which I received today, the 8th of June 2014. Tia, firstly you stated the Land Transport Act states that a person may not drive a motor vehicle on the road without an appropriate current driver's licence. Which section? Granted, I did ask, do I, while acting in the capacity as a person, require a driver's licence to operate a vehicle, yes or no? But then, I believe you may be in error with regards to your next statement of, the meaning of person is by its very nature that of a human being. Legislation does not define a person further as natural, sovereign, artificial or otherwise. Tia, are you aware that the meaning of the word person is defined further in legislation? Such legislation as New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990 Section 29. Under Section 29, natural persons and artificial persons are mentioned, are they not? Interpretation Act 1999 Section 29. Under Section 29, titled Definitions, person is defined as includes a corporation sole, a body corporate, and an unincorporated body. So, by nature, which of these three options are you? I am aware that by nature we are all man and woman, naked apes, with inherent rights as man, all equal. If you wish to believe you are a human and not a man or woman, that is your choice. Although in Butterworth's New Zealand Law Dictionary, 5th edition, page 223, may give definitions of a person as a man is not defined legally in that dictionary. Or did I miss it? Just a moment. One second. So, just to show you I'm not full of shit here. Page 223, one of my favourite pages. Yeah. There. Page 223. Okay. Says it right there, people. Okay. Person. I've got a photo of it, so I'll let you look. But that's where it says a person includes corporation, sole body, corporate and unincorporated body. I've also cut and pasted the writing from the Interpretation Act, and I'll put that in this clip too. About there. Furthermore, lawfully, man has a fictional written... Oh, and by the way, just because I've got this doesn't mean I know how to speak fucking legalese. I mean, we've got the Quran, the Witch's Bible, the Good News Bible, the Concise Dictionary, the Brewer's Dictionary of Phrase and Fables, the Guide to Drugs and Supplements, Black's Law Dictionary. I've got a lot of shit there, okay? None of which I've fully read or understand. Why would I? But the thing is, that's reference material. And if they're going to use their rules to try and enforce something on me, I'm going to look at their rules and make sure they're fucking following them. And whether or not that rule applies to me in the first place. This all started over a $30 speeding ticket like years ago. I thought, fuck it, I did nothing wrong. Anyway, moving on. So I got this, I got the blacks. I looked it all up. And it seems pretty simple to me. We're all getting the fucking wool pulled over our eyes. Anyway, skipping my book collection over there. Probably got a book there on how to speak Japanese as well. Doesn't mean I know how to speak fucking Japanese, but I will use it for reference. So, where was I up to? Or did I miss that word in the dictionary? I believe Tia was where I was up to. Furthermore, lawfully, man has a fictional, written representation as a human being or natural person. Hue is a colour of. Okay, if you've got a different hues, and you're seeing different hues of things, you're seeing different colours or different variations of colours. Okay, so a hue is a colour of a man, a hue man. Basically, it is your written representation. If I wanted to get a copy, there's me, the man. That's a copy of the natural person. Okay, this is probably the first time, or one of the very first times, my mother registered my given names. Okay, that's what created this thing here called the human being or the natural person. Okay, it is a representation of man in a lawful society. Then you have this thing that the government created through the contract and notification of your parents. It's got nothing to do with you. You are not an 8x10 piece of fucking paper. Okay, you're a man. So why do you think you are this? Why do you think you're a name? So much more. Can man exist without a name? Think about it. If you lived on a fucking island and you had no one else to talk to, would you need one? Next thing you'll get coconuts and call them Wilson. Anyway, this is known as the capitis diminutio minima, or the capitalised initials only. Also, that legally man has a fictional written representation as an artificial person, the straw man to function in commerce, to operate in maritime law, admiralty law, the seas of commerce. You're on a citizen ship. That's your capitis diminutio media, or your John Henry Doe, with the full capitalisation of the last name only, and only the initials. I am also aware that man through representation can have a person, through representation as a person, can, if wish, have a political status for that person, the citizen or member of public, capitis diminutio maxima, John Henry Doe. It is also my understanding that sovereign means roughly bound by no laws. I am most certainly bound by the laws of nature and physics, as is every man. Even Elizabeth of the House of Windsor is bound by gravity, is she not? What is your interpretation of the word registration? Tia, you also stated, please note the vehicle registration does not constitute legal ownership. Registration involves two parties, so although a person may register property as a vehicle, does said property become legally owned by the entity the property is registered with? Who is the legal owner? Such as the LTSA, for instance, or NZTA. And does the person enjoy the equitable use of the said vehicle? Tia, you say a person applying for a driver's license is not entering into a contract. So if a person is not registered as a voter or an elector, a license is not required? For a man to travel or a person to drive? Or could there be a contract between the New Zealand police and a person? Do you know? That's why I'm frickin' asking. Is this legislative process voluntary or mandatory? And to who? Or do you believe legislation to be binding to a person that registration as a voter, said person is not required? Okay, so just in case that sounds unclear, I'm basically making sure that if a man acting through a person hasn't registered that person as an elector or voter, so therefore it's not on the electoral roll, or that person or that man through that person isn't on the electoral roll, does that mean that that legislative process called a driver's license isn't required because you're not part of their fucking system? Does it? Think about it. Tia, you say then that they are undertaking a legislative process whereby they will be issued a driver's license which entitles them to operate a motor vehicle on the road once the process has been successfully completed. And I'm sure they probably get all the bells and whistles and yahoos over it afterwards. Tia, who are they? Why are you speaking in plural? just for the record, as far as I'm concerned, they, T-H-E-Y, stands for the hierarchy enslaving yous. Alright? Do you believe you can replace a right with an entitlement? Do you believe you can replace a right with an entitlement? As you have not yet answered the other questions, I will repeat my wish more clearly. You can answer them. Do you believe I, a man, with inherent rights, not acting as a person, just a man by nature, require a license to travel from one location to another in my private mode of conveyance, not vehicle or motor vehicle? Yes or no? If a man, through an artificial person, has a license, is that man, through the artificial person, then legally obliged to register property as a vehicle? In other words, if you have gone and gotten your driver's license, even though it was under some misunderstanding that you needed one, if that license then exists, or if the man owns property through that person, is that person then obliged to register that property as a motor vehicle? Or, like for instance, if my father has a 1925 Fiat 501 vintage car that he's the second owner of, but he never drives it, it's probably deregistered by now because it's sat in the shed for years, so it's just property. It's not a motor vehicle, it's not registered as such, it is just his property. Probably worth a pretty penny, but it's still property. It's not a motor vehicle unless he chooses to register it as such. Upon registration of property as a vehicle, does property change legal title from the registrant, yes or no? As for your suggestion to seek legal advice with respect to traffic infringement offence, as you are a woman representing the New Zealand Transport Agency, how is that you cannot state whether an infringement or an offence is a wrong? Do you not understand the question? Don't you? It's a pretty simple one. Wrong, it's the opposite of doing something right. Wrong. Alright? As in wrongdoers. Either a man claims another man is a wrongdoer, like harming another man, or robbery, kidnapping, trespass, etc. Do you understand what I am saying? As offence and infringement are another language, legalese, I would hope that if New Zealand Transport Agency is using legislation like Land Transport Act 1998 as their basis on a response, that they would understand the language and possibly translate it to English for me. Is that not possible? Tia, are you legally trained? Is it not a requirement legally? Tia, I totally appreciate that you have taken the time to answer these questions. My kind regards. Also see the notice of intent and my attached fee schedule. Anyway guys, I haven't had a response, it's been 2 weeks. I'm going to give them 1 more week to respond to me via the email. And if they don't respond to me via the email, I'll give them a call. Because hey, it's only questions. See you guys. Have a good day.